people want to have the bigger stages, and well, he's not understanding that sometimes we just need to flow in the spirit.
So in your car, you're like, oh, glory, hallelujah.
These are the songs that inspired us in 2020.
These are just some songs, again, that are just connected with our hearts. So we just wanted to kind of have fun with this and just share those with you today.
Mm-hmm.
And what we wanted to kind of talk to you about is kind of not necessarily the process of how we did these songs, but basically what it took to do these songs in a church setting. A lot of times, especially pastors, I don't know if you guys can agree with that, but pastors have these big and glorious ideas about doing these songs that are basically like they're recorded live, but I mean, there's some overdubs and there's all these special effects and parts that are going on in these songs, and these pastors think, oh, this has to be done in my church, and we barely have what they have in those recordings. But anyway, this is kind of one of those songs that I felt like it was a great song to do, but maybe it's going to be some challenges. So we still brought it to the church. We didn't have the talk box. We didn't have the what do you call that? The vocoder. Is it vocoder or vocoder?
Yeah, vocoder.
Church called Nashville Life Church. I have been hearing them actually before we started moving around. I was hearing the song "My God" in Detroit quite a bit on Praise.
Really? Was that long ago?
Yeah, it's been.
You sure?
Yeah, I've been hearing that song for a while, and I think I kind of saw it on YouTube. It has Mr. Talkback in it. Bang, there it was, and they're getting nominated for all these awards, and we decided to do this song at our church. I had to basically ad-lib that part without, because he does this part. Praise the Lord, everybody. I love the Lord, he heard my cry. So I would do that ad-lib as is, just naked, no vocoder. And it was a little rough at first.
Why was it rough?
Only because it required a little more like vocalizing and just a little more vibiness of it. You can go to church with it, I love the Lord, he heard my cry, but is that necessary? So I kind of wanted to stay within the slickness of it with what I was doing vocally. So I've finally gotten there.
CeCe Winans' son, Alvin Love III, plays a major part in what they do, and he does a lot of writing and production on their music. And so one of the songs that we kind of like fell in love with, we kind of stumbled upon it, on YouTube or whatever. It caught us like right away because it had like this reggae type vibe, but it was so simple and it was fun.
For me, it just put me back in this time warp of the Winans, the Winans family, that just the way the song is,
the melody.
Yeah, the song is done. It's CeCe Winans, but it kind of gives you that Marvin Winans.
Yeah.
Just the way they kind of put their swag on the song, that's what really attracted me, and those are the things I've grown to love about the Winans family. They just have this certain swag about how they sing.
The way they sing. So we want to give a huge shout out to David and Nicole Binion. Those are two of my favorite worship leaders, and especially Nicole. Like I look up to them a whole lot. So
it was just something fresh about their writing. They also led with Josh Dufresne. His voice, even, man, he captivated me on those last two records that I heard David and Nicole do with them.
When we found out about Covenant Worship, we were like really excited because they have a lot of good music.
Some of the songs that kind of stuck out to us, I think All Creation. Why did you like that one so much?
Well, we used to do it when we lived in Connecticut. If you didn't know, we lived in Connecticut for about a year after we moved from Detroit. We lived in Detroit for about 3.5 years. And so Dre's uncle was a worship pastor there, and we ended up transitioning there. But that's when we kind of like have grown to love Covenant. Though they had like a contemporary style of worship, it also felt gospel in some ways.
Just sonically and just the way the whole production just felt like they did a beautiful mixture of CCM and an urban sound. Israel had a part in that as well. A lot of writing, a lot of production on that.
Yeah.
A lot of some of new breed, and so they had some influences on those records. So, but it was just so refreshing to hear, like, man, like, you know, like you can feel something. Not that you can't feel something when you hear Hillsong and the others, but it's just like now you're getting more of this connection to what you're used to hearing in an urban setting or a gospel type setting, or more of a Pentecostal church. You know, not that they're hand clapping, foot stomping, but there's something sonically that that resonate more with the urban community. They had been serving at Covenant and working with their team and recording, and then so they ended up starting their own work, Dwell.
So you'll also hear All Creation on that album. It's called Dwell. And then another song that stuck out to us was My Soul Follows. That's a good song. And then this other song, Doxology. Which we've grown to love, and we brought it to our church. Because it's in a strange time signature, it's kind of hard to do and know the cues to come in. So there are a couple of times like we messed up on this song, and like the team, and we were
lyrics. I've messed up the lyrics.
Yes.
The first time I was saying, "There's a breaking in my favor as I wait." So I don't know what's going on up here, but
like you have to be on it for this song. So like everybody has to be on it, because you can't just not listen to it and think you're about to show up and do this song. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it definitely requires some time spent on this number, for real.
But when you really get it, it's not that hard. But
how great! I like that song. What happened with this one is it was on the Covenant Records, and it was even on, I think, the Dwell Project with David and Nicole Binion. Then William McDowell does it.
Right. Okay.
He does that whole exhortation, which is fire, on that record, on the Dwell record. So anyways, William McDowell does it on his album. What was the name of that album?
It's called The Cry.
Is it The Cry?
Yeah, the latest album.
Yeah. He does it with Yolanda Adams, and just like the band and just the whole production of that song is incredible. It just literally takes the song to the next level. Not that it needed anything else, but it's just that, I don't know, it was just refreshing. Yolanda Adams was on it, and I'm just using that word a lot tonight, refreshing. So we'll just put that on the video as well, refreshing. But anyway, it was to me, to hear Yolanda Adams is going in on that kind of a song, and just to hear her voice, and of course William McDowell. And so how great.
We've grown to love William McDowell, but we especially grew to love his ministry, I think, last year, which is interesting because we followed him for a while now. Like, we ended up going to this conference. We went. It's at his church.
We've been to conferences before, but
not this intense. Like, it was specifically for worship leaders, worship pastors, and things of that nature. So it was really, really intense, and it was like 4 days. And so basically, after you go through all the trainings, you actually get a certificate.
But it's from a actual accredited college,
Yeah, so it was really great experience. A lot of people keep saying refreshing. It was really refreshing to be in that type of atmosphere. One of the things that William McDowell wanted us to leave with was don't let the fire burn out, you know.
You gotta carry it to
your local church, wherever you're serving. Like, people want to have the bigger stages and, you know, the bigger churches and the better praise teams, the better band and different things of that nature.
Better equipment, the better resources.
Yeah, but will your fire continue to burn where you are, where you're serving? And so,
even if it's not the greatest in your eyes.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you lead worship, you have a vision for the worship ministry, but you can't go past your pastor. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your pastor is saying, well, no, I want this for this service, and you're like, no, well, I feel the Lord saying this, that's not gonna work. It's division, you know, it's confusion. So it's like, yeah, it's hard sometimes, and you feel like the pastor doesn't understand, you know, well, he's not, you know, understanding that sometimes we just need to flow in the spirit. Okay, well, you're not the pastor. And is it God? Or, I mean, it's a lot of different ways we can go with this, because on one end, you can be at a church, and we've been there. You can be at a church where you know that there's more that God wants to do, and the pastor's not there. He's not there because, first of all, you know that he's never really experienced that type of thing, because his background,
he or she, his background is totally
different from what you're used to, where you've come from, and you know what God can do. You know, you've seen it, but the pastor may not be in that place, and you know, his experience is not like yours, and you're frustrated because you want the Father to move, and you want to see miracles happening. You want to see the glory of God happening, but they're like, no. It's like they're pouring water on the fire, you know, and quenching the spirit, kind of. And so you're frustrated as a worship leader, like, okay, am I supposed to be here? Like, what am I doing here? Because, you know, every time I feel like God is trying to do something, the pastor's like, no, we're sticking to our program. And I think it's hard in those type of settings. But at the same time, what can God do in those few minutes that you have? You know what I'm saying? Because every situation, you're not going to be able to flow. You're not going to be able to go with a lot of time. So are you going to be able to allow God to do what he's doing in those 15 minutes, those 20 minutes, you know, 7 minutes? Tasha Cobbs was at the conference, and she was saying that when she was at the Dream Center with William Murphy, they had 7 minutes every Sunday. 7 minutes. You had to do what you had to do within that 7 minutes. And also, like, as worship leaders, let's not be egotistical thinking that God only has to move through us. Like, we have to be the ones to bring God in. No, God's already there. And don't think that he can't do something through another part of the service. Like, it doesn't have to be the worship set that allows him to do what he's trying to do. So let's not, you know, be selfish and think, well, you know, I didn't get to do this and I didn't get to do that. Well, it's not about you and your program, you know. We felt God trying to do something in this song, and you never get to the song. It's okay. It's okay. So it's like different, you know, ends of the spectrum. You know, there are pastors that don't get it yet or not there yet, and then there are pastors who get it, you know, and you just have to flow with them, whatever they're trying to do, and it may not always be your turn, you know.
So we came back literally fired up, as she said, trying to keep this fire going. And that song they did, Nothing Like Your Presence,
That's a really good song.
That's a serious song. So at the conference, they did Nothing Like Your Presence. They did it, I don't know, maybe 100 times. The song was fire.
Oh, and
so they have the trumpet player, Nathaniel. He's from Nigeria. Bassie, thank you. Yeah. Travis Green, of course.
Really, really anointed.
Yeah. Great singers. I love his voice. And he's
Travis
Cole on the trumpet.
Yeah.
Travis Green.
He was there.
And then what's the girl? Yeah,
Trinity Anderson. She leads a lot of songs with William McDowell. She's really, really good. She's the worship leader there. Really, really awesome.
Yeah, free spirited, man.
Yeah.
Just anointed. Yeah, so Nothing Like Your Presence. And my pastor, he got wind of that song. The pastor of the church that we're serving at. Like, oh, Nothing Like Your Presence, was amazing.
Because he went to another church and he preached there.
No, that's not what happened. His
church.
son was playing it in the car.
Oh, his son was playing it in the car. No, it was. No, he went to another church.
That was Ty Trivet chasing me down. We have another story about that. But you're right. It was it Nothing Like Your Presence?
Yes, he went to another church,
like
and they sang that. The worship team sang that song, and like the Father was really moving in the place, and he felt the Spirit of God there, and he was like, our team, we got to do that. We got to do that song. We did the song a couple times. It's a good song to do, y'all. It's a really good song, but at the end, you know how they're flowing.
At the end, they're in this high worship. And they're going like crazy, and then they're doing all this stuff, and you can feel it, and you just like, but you're in your house, in your car, you're like, oh, glory, hallelujah.
We use tracks for worship most times. We use multi-tracks, and we use Luke Community. Those are two good resources if you're looking for like actual tracks for the songs. But anyway, we found a track for the song on Luke Community, and it had all the extra parts in there, like all the flowing parts, and they kept doing the vents and all that stuff. So we did the song one time, and I had to like tell the musicians, okay, which one were we doing next, because like
because they had the dun 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 came, but they were like strange timing.
It was like going to different chords, but sometimes they would hold this, and then I had to kind of tell the team like which one to do, because they ended up giving me a Talkback mic.
Yeah, talk mic fails. That's what we should call that.
Yes, I should post that.
Talk mic fails.
It was funny though, because I was like, go here, go to the next. And it was like not on a Talkback. It was live during the service.
Yeah.
And
online feed that everybody in the house can hear.
Yeah, come on, go to the floor. Come on. It's so stupid. I don't know. Will we do the song again?
This song, Nothing Like Your Presence, I love this song. It's an amazing song, but to me, I would call this more like a big church conference kind of song. It's not really
big church
like that can facilitate everything. Like, okay, you like Relentless.
You need an MD for that.
You need an MD, but I'm saying like Relentless or Transformation, or like a big church where they have the singers and they have the musicians that in the MD that can just man the whole situation.
I feel like it's also,
but the worship culture needs to be in your church.
Yes.
Or the people.
That's what I was gonna say.
Are gonna do what they did to us. They just looked.
They didn't
mind
get it.
You, we're going to this on the record, right?
Hype.
They getting hyped. They getting about it. They get going into some serious worship. That didn't happen for us. That did not happen.
How dare you? It didn't happen outwardly. Maybe it happened inwardly.
Maybe it
we
was
can't judge
inwardly, but it was like crickets. And
it may not have been.
I'm doing all the ad libs like Travis Green and like Nathaniel, and I'm trying to go in. I will bless the Lord. At all times I will bless the Lord. And it was just like,
that's the thing about choosing songs for your specific church, The funniest thing though, a lot of pastors, they listen to these live recordings.
Yeah.
They listen to these churches like Bethel, Hillsong, and they're talking about do this song.
Because they so
and
involved in that.
You haven't
feeling almost.
You haven't cultivated a worship culture at your church at all. You haven't taught on worship at all. You don't teach on praise or anything, and you expect people to just be falling out during these songs. Like, no, that's not how it works. No, you have to prepare people.
Hey.
Like, if you're saying that a lot of your people are unchurched, you have to teach them. You have to show them. You have to kind of
God.
Stop. You can't just expect them to be falling out because some people like didn't come from that background. Number one, and another thing is there are some people that may be uncomfortable because they're introverted. You know, you don't know. So it's like you have to teach on it, pastors. This is from a worship leader perspective. Like, you have to. We're going to help you, cultivate. But you have to help us, help the church, basically.
Yeah, basically.
So just kind of keep that in mind, like when you're bringing us these songs, you know, like Israel and New Breed, you know, like Tide Tribute, you know.
Chasing Me Down.
Yes, we tried that once, but we didn't do the whole song.
Is chasing me down. Chasing me down, goodness and mercy, follow with me, then bang.
Yes. We did it.
You gotta
one time.
And you gotta have musicians who can carry that.
Yes,
stuff.
It's not fun. Look. I'm honest with y'all. Like, I play, but I don't like playing that stuff and trying to sing. It's like I can do one or the other. Like, with all of those different things happening and so much going on in the song, I have to focus on just playing because, like, I don't want to do all that and try to sing. That's not gonna work. So
a lot of these songs are amazing songs. That's why I don't know. Like I said, I call them like conference songs. I call them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's another one. You're Doing It All Again.
Do It All Again.
Todd Dulaney.
Your great name, but especially Do It All Again. What was that?
No,
Do It All Again.
No, that's Your Great Name. Okay. That was so hard for us.
You're expecting this response because of the hypeness and the
because you feel it yourself.
The intensity of the song and the words even. Doing it all again. You made the blind man see, made the lame man walk again, call the dead to rise. That's how we walk in liberty, because you do it all again. Oh, so it's like those things need to resonate to these people. And we found out that everybody is not on lyrically, even in those spaces. They're just coming to enjoy, I guess, a church or religious experience. And so those words really, so I'm saying you're bringing these songs, they're amazing, they're hype, and there's so much energy and just,
you have to cultivate.
But they're not connecting with the audience.
It's something to think about when you're like choosing music for your church. That's just one of the main things. I know for us, when we first kind of started leading worship together, we were in more gospel settings, Dre and I, and we were kind of the ones that would be introducing more CCM or contemporary Christian music type songs like Hillsong, Chris Tomlin, Matt Redman, you know, different artists like that. And that was unfamiliar for people in the kind of settings we were in at the time. There was a time in our lives where we did kind of shy away from who we were, our background, because for me, I came from a Pentecostal church. praise the Lord, ever like hard singing, yelling to get people in, in. That's what I came from. So
I don't know what y'all coming to do, but I come.
Yes. And so once I kind of transitioned out of that, I kind of was like, no, I'm not gonna keep doing that. So I had to basically, like, later on, I had to accept that part of me, because it's like, oh no, I can't just go to one thing and not accept all of who I am. Let me bring all of it in and allow myself to be who I am. So when we sing CCM type songs, you're gonna hear a little bit of soul. You're gonna hear a little bit of gospel influence, because that's just who we are.
Yeah.
But we've been in very diverse type settings, a lot of different backgrounds of people that we've been with and have sung with. And so now we're in more of a diverse church, but we're now the ones that have to introduce more gospel at this time in our lives and in this season. So yeah, we sing a lot of CCM at our church, but now we're bringing more gospel.
What are
songs.
some of the songs that are going well gospel wise? Your great name, musicality wise, okay? Musically, it's going over well. Doxology, we've had some bumpy roads, but I would say songs like "You Deserve It," basic chords.
It's still.
We actually did Total Praise pretty good.
We did Total Praise.
We did it with the worship team, more of an ensemble. But
they loved Total Praise.
It actually went over very well.
Yeah. So
nowadays, everybody, my wife, I would say, introduced me to this group. This group is called Maverick City.
I found them online, actually on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because a lot of people had already liked their videos and stuff. So I was kind of late. But at the same time, I was still early.
You was late and I was slow about it. Because I was like, man, I'll be honest, like I felt like they were, I love the diversity in the people that are part of those recordings. And I think I expressed this to a pastor friend of mine. It just feels like the urban aspect, the gospel aspect of it is not being implemented as much, only because it's this sound that is kind of emanating that's a little more neutral to CCM and a little more. And so I feel like, I love that they're bringing our people in to be a part of these recordings and these productions, but I don't feel like the sound is really coming forth. Our urban sound, our gospel music sound. But I started to fall in love with their passion, and that's what started to draw me, like Chandler more. I love the Dante Bowie guy, and some of the other singers, of course. We know we follow like people like Stephanie Gretzinger, and just that raw emotion, that raw passion. And I know that's been exhibited a lot in Chandler Moore, and everything that he does. It's just, I don't know, he has the vocals that matches the passion. And I think that's the vocal ability, I should say. That's what drew me to listening more to them. This latest album, really, they really poured out some good stuff. Writing-wise, worship-wise, they're actually doing this with, what's the group that does Surrounded? Upper Room. So they did this latest album with Upper Room. And man, they really poured out.
I was just gonna say, as far as Maverick sound, I don't know, I kind of would have to disagree, because it may feel like CCM style music, but you still feel the soul in it, like how we are, kind of, like you still hear it. It's still there. So it's still represented to me in a way, musically, with the vocals and stuff like that. So yeah.
Vocally.
Yeah, because it's the music is just acoustic. Now everybody is on this Maverick City kick, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. We love Maverick City, but the thing is now, you know how before they were saying I want Hillsong, I want, you know, elevation sound. Now everybody's asking for, I want Maverick City sound. This is what I want. Can you implement that? And it's like the same thing. It's like you have to cultivate a culture at your church like that. But the funnier thing is like people want a diverse worship experience, right? They want different cultures in their church, you know, different people represented on stage, you know, and different diverse sound or whatever. And it's interesting how a lot of people want they want that CCM style sound, but they'll only take it from a Black person if they sound kind of, I don't want to say this, but kind of whitewashed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and that's the plainest way I can put it.
That's happening in worship, and it's also happening in pop music. I appreciate all artists. It doesn't matter what color, and I appreciate the different textures and the sounds and the tones and, you know,
what their backgrounds bring to who they are.
Yeah, what their background. That's really what matters. Your background, what it brings. And I know, like, a lot of times you can't fault, you know, a white person for sounding, you know, soulful, because that's their background. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so either way, the encouragement that we're trying to give to you is
just be who you are.
Be who you are. So if you're
be authentic to you.
If you come from a gospel background, don't try to change your thing up, because I think we've done that for a while.
We've done that.
I've done that. I'm not even putting my wife in there.
I've done that.
I've tried
for years.
Oh, you know, because you have this idea that white is better, and it's really what God is giving you, and everyone that you're called to is going to accept the sound that's coming out of your mouth, that's coming out of your voice, and it's going to connect with those that God has sent it to connect with, regardless of the race, the color, the creed, the anything, ethnicity. So that's really what we're trying to say. Embrace all of who you are, everything about you. Embrace that, and let God do something great with you.
That's it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. If you can do us a favor and like this video, share it, subscribe to our channel, and you'll be hearing so much more from us.